I ain't tryna bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man? You can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse. See, I walk in slow and ignite the room. Like fire, everything I touch, I consume. I'm getting up while y'all just snooze. While you make breakfast, man, I'm on the move. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. In me I trust, yeah, I smell like success, this Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop cause the top just ain't enough, huh? I ain't never gave no fucks, I ain't scared, man, you know black men don't blush, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Won't you come and see what it's like, living by the rules that you write. You ain't all those lavish delights, now you had no back in sight. All the little lies you recite, just makes all the savage unite. Usually I'm very polite, but I'ma get savage tonight. Even when a dog being nice, every single dog gonna bite. You might think I'm wrong, but I'm right. Just let it get a strong appetite. I'ma let it breathe just a little, give it to you strong, heavy metal. I don't make a sound when I strike. You better just run for your life. Run for your life. I ain't tryna bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been
sound. Why?
I've been doing this show for 2 years and I still find a way to mess that up at times. That's pretty embarrassing. Had the wrong mic selected. It's cool. We're good. Reset. Welcome back now, guys. This is DDP back with another edition of Mavs Fastbreak. As you can see, it is me in a tunnel. Is there like an echo effect on my audio? Okay, hopefully not. Let me know in the comments if there is. If there is, I don't know what I can do about it on the fly other than trying to adjust the volume. But anyway, we are now rolling. Yeah, vintage DDP with the technical mistake. I get you, Glare. We are now rolling, and as you can see from the title of this video, we have some exciting news in the last couple days. Since I last I think the last time we did the show, which was, I guess, last Wednesday, we were in the process of, we being Mavericks, because, you know, we're all part of the team in our own special way. The Mavericks as a team, 9 of the 15 players had headed to Miami for a little bit of team bonding or just kind of a team chemistry building trip, something like that. We saw the picture that night looking like it was taken with the pixel capacity of a potato, showing the 9 guys around the table. You had Luka, you had KP, you had DeLon Wright, you had Justin Jackson, you had Isaiah Roby, you had Dwight Powell, you had, oh man, there's three more. Tim Hardaway Jr., I like that inflection, and 2 other guys who were slipping my mind currently, but you didn't have guys like Boban, you didn't have guys like Maxey because they were still involved in the FIBA tournament, and I think JJ Barea wasn't there either. Yeah, he wasn't there. But, you know, he's got a former Miss Universe for a wife, so anytime he's at anything that's optional, I'm kind of surprised he left the house. So, all the same, hey, what's up, Facts God? Appreciate you, man. So, all the same, we're looking at a team-building exercise or vacation, as it were, for the Mavericks. Now, that's not just hanging out. Seth Curry was not there. I think he was... Rangers King pointed out, like, in Italy at the time or something. I don't know the details on that, but he was not in the picture. He may have joined them since then. But the whole idea, getting married, there you go. The whole idea is that the team wasn't just hanging out and relaxing and going out clubbing and things like that in Miami. They were there to do work and to do work kind of under the radar. They didn't want to put this out. Like, you had seen those Luka highlights from pickup games at, like, Lifetime gyms and things like that. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to work out amongst themselves, scrimmage amongst themselves within the team and everything. And we have an unleashed 100% Kristaps Porzingis now. And apparently within the last couple days, Dwight Powell has kind of alluded to as much that, yeah, KP looks like the unicorn again. He's going full bore, and he's reminding everybody why exactly he is unguardable. We're talking about a guy that averaged 22, before his injury, was averaging 22.7 points. Rebounds, I think, was only like 6.3 or something. Not so great there. But 2.7 blocks per game, and was playing just out of his mind. Easily, he was named an all-star prior to his injury. The guy was playing the best basketball of his career, and now he's added 20 pounds of muscle. So the string being Porzingis, getting bullied on the block or anything like that, that's not going to happen anymore. We got to see how he comes back from the ACL, but there is a lot to be encouraged about all the same, because not only did he put on muscle, not only are you now pairing him with the best player he's ever played with. Yes, I said the best player he's ever played with. Shots fired, Carmelo Anthony. He, in addition to that, is in a system now that understands how to help him stay healthy, how to work with his unique skill set and everything in that way. He could have played last year. We were told that numerous times, but it was the Mavericks and his people, his representation, basically saying, hey, let's spend a little bit of time doing a physical makeover for him. The Mavericks know the strength and conditioning program, the nutritional program, and all that obviously preserved Dirk, our own personal GOAT, for 20 plus seasons. So we don't want to put anything like that at risk. And thankfully, we don't have to. But now we have Porzingis, and when we signed him to a max deal, a 5-year, $158 million contract, that, in fact, was the highest paid contract, the highest value contract in Mavericks franchise history. Now, that's something that gets kind of glossed over, and I get it. Like, a lot of people don't think a whole lot about that. They're kind of like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But you have other people who will look at it and say, well, hey, Dirk never got that kind of money. Why does KP get it when he hasn't done what Dirk's done? It's a different age, guys. It's a different age of basketball. The money is going through the roof every year. And every time we have a CBA, it always bumps up the cap even more. So always something like that to consider. Porzingis' value, don't sweat the numbers. Just know technically it is the biggest contract we've ever signed until Luka comes around when he's due for his max deal. But all the same, getting him to commit for a 5-year thing was huge. Let's see here. This is Dirk talking about seeing Porzingis. This was just a few days ago. This was September 15th. This is from Dwayne Price. Quoting Dirk talking about Porzingis. I ran into him a few days ago at the gym. Yeah, he looks good. I watched him work out a little bit. He's got the deep ball. He's got all the in-between game. So he'll be a great weapon for us. We can't wait to see what he's going to look like, says Dirk. So yeah, things are looking pretty good. But then what about that scrimmage, that head-to-head with the rest of the teammates? Well, he was being guarded by probably his fellow starter, Dwight Powell. And in that, Dwight Powell had to say, he's 7'3" and shoots it from anywhere with ease, said Dwight Powell. It's kind of hard to affect the shot. He's moving well and he's at full strength. He's looking very good out there and we're all excited. That is Dwight Powell talking about having to face him in some of these scrimmages. We don't have video. I wish we had video. Trust me, if we had video, that would have been my next kind of reaction clips thing immediately. But all the same, things are looking pretty good. We have the... Let me see here. I was just looking through the notes I took. That's the gist of what Dwight Powell talking about it. But it's amazing how much better things feel moving forward right now than they did a calendar year ago. But I say a calendar year. I guess if you say a calendar year, we had drafted Luka. But the start of the offseason before last draft, before we got Luka, where we felt then versus where we feel now, it's drastically different. So I know there was some frustration regarding, hey, free agency didn't work out like we thought. It felt like a lot of people, both nationally and locally, were telling us huge things were in store for us. And yeah, I bought into the hype among the people. But in the end, I still think that we had an efficient, if quiet, free agency period. And I think DeLon Wright is a quality under the radar add for this team. So it'll be interesting to see how this team takes shape. If you look at what some of the betting sites have in terms of the layout projecting the Western Conference, they have this Mavericks team as a 7 seed, which is actually a little higher than I had for this current construct of the team. I had them needing a trade deadline move, an all-star deadline, all-star weekend move to get that third guy. And I still think they'll do that, but it is interesting how high people are on the Mavericks now. Maybe some of these people have gone back and revisited some Kristaps Porzingis highlights and then looked at some Luka highlights side by side and were like, shit. I don't know what the case is, but things are looking pretty good. What's up today in Mavs Facebook? Quasimodo, what's up? Give a shout out to some of the people in here. Glef, first in the house, reclaiming the crown. Quasimodo, can't catch him, what's up? Aldrin, what's up? Buziton? I probably butchering that name. Can't catch him. Luka said he can't wait to dunk on some guy named RJ. Yes, that is in reference to RJ Barrett, who apparently made it known in an interview the other day. Now, he was prompted into the answer, but who he would most like to posterize in his rookie season. Go figure, he pointed out the former Knick and the big disappointment for the franchise. Granted, a lot of that's their own fault. Kristaps Porzingis. Good luck, Rook. He's 7'3". Yeah, he blocks 2.7 shots a game, so I guess you'll get your opportunities if you go at the rim on him. But more often than not, that does not work out well for the rookie. And even if it does work out and you dunk on him, hey, congrats. He's still going to light you up for 30. Let's see here. Let's see. Big homie from the D, what's up? Facts God, what's up? Highest until the Mavericks back in the damn Brinks truck for Luka, says today Mavs Facebook. Absolutely. And by then, the cap will have obviously gone up again, so a max deal at that point will look different than it looks now. Rangers King, it is worth remembering KP's last year as a player option, so really it's a 4+1. Fair point. But the report itself was saying 5-year, but that is good context as well. Quasimodo, I hope he averages 26. Imagine how crazy that would be. That would be Dirk's best years if he's averaging 26 a game. In terms of a scoring capacity, Dirk was averaging 26 points per game. Never really got above that. He always stayed like within that 26 to 27 range, just under 27. So that would be phenomenal. Isaiah Hunt, what's up? That would be phenomenal if KP could get to that level, because while KP can be at that level, I think you can also have Luka somewhere in the 23-point range likely. A little bump up from his 21 average last year. And at that point, you got two guys averaging in the mid-20s. In KP's case, a little closer to the high 20s at that point. So that would be phenomenal. And the bench, keep in mind, last year before J.J. Barea went down with his torn Achilles injury, I know he's back this year. I'm not expecting a whole lot. That's just the nature of being 34, going on 35, and dealing with an Achilles injury. Really, in most cases, that's just the nature of an Achilles injury. Ask Wesley Matthews about that. But all the same, I look at what this team has and the fact that before Barea's injury last year, our bench was about as good as any bench unit in the league. It was the Clippers, probably the best. The Mavericks were right there in that discussion. Trying to think off the top of my head, another team that had a really good bench unit. A lot of these teams that built the super teams had to forsake depth. That's what happens when you go the route of a Golden State Warriors and have your core 4 or Fab 5 or whatever stupid nickname we want instead of a big 3. That's just what you back into. But it is what it is. And so this team looks like it's in very good position at that point. If you have a stellar bench, and you can add in 26 roughly a game from KP and 23 from Luka. That puts you in prime position. Now, defensive ability and rebounding are going to be my two biggest questions for this team. We know KP can block shots, 2.7 a game. We don't have a whole lot of shot blocking from Dwight, but we know Maxey was, hey, I don't even care if this is controversial to anybody, because it's a damn fact, and we said it multiple times last year throughout the season. Even when DeAndre Jordan was here, Maxey Kleber was our best rim protector. Hands down. So Maxey coming off the bench, you could have a serious rim protection unit between Maxey and KP in those cases. Rebounding, yeah, I want to see more from KP rebounding-wise this year, especially with all this muscle he put on. I want to see KP step up in that regard. I want to see KP with 8 boards a game. I think that is still a strong improvement from his career average. His best year of his career, I think, was 6.7 rebounds. Maybe 7. Maybe he had a year with like 7 or 7.1. But I think if he can get 8 rebounds a game, that shows growth and development in that regard. And we're going to be a rebound by association team anyway. We're not going to have like the one guy like we had for half of last year with DeAndre Jordan snatching 13, 14 boards a game himself, but then forgetting to guard pick and rolls or rotate or really just show general effort outside of rebounding and the occasional headhunting for a shot block. Just saying. Dwight Powell has also bulked up, Isaiah Hunt. It's pretty much the offseason of shredded Mavericks, because you've seen ripped KP, slim Luka with some muscle definition and cut to him. No six-pack. He admits no six-pack, but you've seen a lot of those. You've seen as well the buff Dwight. You've seen Bobby looking very vascular and cut as well. This team has taken this season seriously, and I think that's fantastic, because that's the position we're in. We have the guys that we could make a run back into the playoffs, and you really want to show what you can do. I'm not going to try and say that this is a team that can contend, because that would just, to me, that would be silly with how the West is right now and where some of these guys are in their development. But you got a 24-year-old Kristaps Porzingis and a 20-year-old Luka Doncic. I think you've bought yourself a little bit of time to figure some things out. You've also got, I think, 9 guys under contract for the next 3 years, so you've built a secure core, something we really haven't seen since that title team hardly at all. You have a secure core of guys that are going to move forward now and have a little bit of chance to build chemistry and just kind of build in general, build off of that. Chef Gumby, what's up? Justin Jackson said he'd put on 15 to 20 pounds. Justin Jackson did say that, and I've actually heard reports from Maverick officials being very pleased with his development over the summer, and that's one of those reasons why I had him as my dark horse for the 5th starter over Dorian Finney-Smith. Let's see. Neil, Kevin, Francisco, sure, playoff spot, not KP and Luka, but supporting cast. Everyone needs to step up. Absolutely. I mean, Luka and KP are, it's 1 and 1A or 1 and 1B, however you phrase that, in terms of the face of the franchise moving forward. I think this is Luka's team, but I think KP is going to now basically be playing the role we thought or hoped last year Dennis Smith Jr. could play, where it was like, hey, we expect to hand the keys to the kingdom to Luka, but we still got this great guy here as well that is himself very, very capable of being that guy, a face of the franchise as well. In the past, we kind of hoped we had that with Dirk and Nash, but we didn't really buy into it enough long term because Cuban stupidly thought Nash was done way before he was. It is what it is, but all the same, that's what we're looking at in that regard. I think we have that now with Luka and KP mixed with that a bench, and we got some really good seasons to look forward to. Some good basketball. Luka hustles and rebounds too. Luka rebounds very well for his size. I mean, he's 6'8", and he gets about 8 boards a game. Luka's already had a season rebounding at a higher clip than KP has, despite being a fair bit shorter. But even still, it's one of those things that they're going to have to rebound by committee approach. But I do think you'll see guys step up. I think Luka's numbers in rebounding, it's hard to see him getting too many more rebounds than he got last year because he already rebounded extremely well. But I think you'll see KP notch up. I think you'll have to see more to Dwight Powell. Justin Jackson, hey, if you're going to be a starter, you got to rebound better because that is the biggest drop-off from you when compared to Dorian Finney-Smith, is you have never been a good rebounder in college, in Sacramento, or in Dallas last year. So hopefully him buffing up a little bit has helped that too. I'm ready for the first preseason game to get a little taste of KP. No homo. No homo indeed. But hey, if someone is that, then I mean, you do you. I'm not here to judge. But I get the feeling, Isaiah, ready for a little bit of Kristaps Porzingis Mavericks basketball. Luka, what's up? Porzingis is what Luka missed last year to be even better. I agree. There was some crazy stat I saw where in terms of potential assist attempts per game, Luka was robbed of like 6 assists per game in terms of open look, wide open threes that his teammates missed last season. KP is going to fill a fair bit of that himself, let alone having then Seth Curry or a 37% shooting Justin Jackson from what we saw last year. I mean, this team looks ready. Hell, if we wanted, we could even potentially see Bobby shoot some threes. And that would be a novelty. I mean, we already got Salah Mejri who wants to do that as well. But, when you got the biggest 3 players or 2 players, whatever, in the league, it's pretty impressive when they can then step out to the 3-point line and still be reasonably decent. Or in Salah's case, make them every now and then. Let me catch up here. High praise for Josh Reeves. I like Josh Reeves a lot. I just don't think you're going to get a chance to see him on the main roster really this year. Ever since those games photos surfaced, the whole team's been getting roided up. Hopefully not roided up, because drug testing will pop us and the season will be derailed before it starts. Let's set the barometer real quick for the Mavs season. In your eyes, what would you define as your expectations for the year in terms of record, and what would sex? Sorry, my mind went elsewhere for a second. Okay, so hashing back over this, I said it in a stream not too long ago. For this Mavericks team, as they are constructed right now, I feel like they're probably in that 9 slot. I don't think that they are just yet a playoff team, but I do expect them to make a substantial move in the way of not adding a superstar, but a third solid piece. I compared it to when the Mavericks added in 2010. They traded Josh Howard to the Wizards and got Deshaun Stevenson, Brennan Haywood, and more specifically, Caron Butler, who even though we only got about a year total of him and Dirk together, he was that new number 2 scorer for the Mavericks, and he was a 3-and-D lockdown dude, Mr. Tough Juice. And as good as that title team was, oh my God, if we had not lost Caron Butler for the season in January, holy crap, we would have swept the Miami Heat. He was days away from returning too. But I think the Mavericks will make a move like that, and if that happens, I think the context shifts from 9 seed, I know that's not a seed, 9 slot in the Western Conference, to as high as 7. I think they steal some games late that they weren't able to steal through the first 2/3 of the season. And I think they get back to the playoffs as high as a 7 seed. Probably 44 wins without a trade, and with a trade, I think 46 or 47. You got to be 48 last year if you want to get the 8 seed. I think the West is going to have a little bit more parity this year, and so I think that barometer might bump down to that 46, 47 mark. And then, who knows, maybe through a tiebreaker, you bump up to 7 and not 8. Let's see here. Why is everyone so confident in Jackson? Asks Kurt Lockhart. Justin Jackson, when you're comparing him to, not to rehash all this argument again, I wrote on it and shared it in the community section if you want to read my article making the case for it. But Justin Jackson is the same height and wingspan as Dorian Finney-Smith. His points per possession defensive prowess drop-off isn't that significant from Dodo. And while he doesn't rebound as well, he is a much better scoring option. He was a former ACC Player of the Year in college, shot 37% in college as well from 3, shot 36% last year with Sacramento before shooting 37% with the Mavericks. Not that you can make this apples to apples saying what you project him to do in the starting lineup this year alongside Luka and KP, because we never saw that before. But when you put him into the starting lineup for about 13 games last year, or was it 13 games? I forget how many games it was. He gave you 13 points per game as a starter last year for the Mavericks. Doesn't have a lot of I think Dodo has better athleticism, but I think as well he has a very good understanding of where to be and how to kind of play smart, if not flashy, defense as well. So I like him a lot, just giving another, above average 3-point shooter, 37% 3-point shooter, if not better, for Luka to hit up in those situations as well on skip passes and with his ridiculous court vision. But that's not my main reason there for it, for the case for Justin Jackson over Dodo. I also think Dodo's shooting like 30% last year from 3, maybe 29 something, maybe it rounded up to 30. He's never been a good 3-point shooter. He's got athleticism, he can dunk and he can defend, but I feel like it's not enough to make the argument that he should be a starter over Justin Jackson. Did you watch Dorian Finney-Smith in scrimmages with Doncic this summer? Yes, he looks like he is showing improvements. Hey, if he wins the job, so be it. I'm not here to say like, no, he shouldn't be the starter. I'm just here to say I'm not bought in until I see it in actual NBA live game action. Scrimmages are great. Playing with Luka and all that's great. If he can be able to create his own shot a little bit better, that's awesome. But I have a hard time believing what we've seen through his career to date is suddenly just night and day going to be different, and we're going to see like a new proficient scorer out of him that is as good or better than Justin Jackson. Success is getting above 500 in my opinion, says your mom's favorite. Oh wait, no, your mom's favorite says something else. Who said that? Who said 500? Oh, Chef Gumby? Well, my mom's favorite does say just need a two-way kind of Duke. I think he meant dude. Success is getting above 500. And to me, success is, ground level is 500. If you're not 41 and 41 at the end of the year, a 500 record, anything below that to me is a failure. If you are 500, that's a push. If you're over 500, then I think you at least took a good step in the right direction. This team won 33 games last year. 33. So yeah, that's a high bar to set. That's saying I expect 10 games better with Luka and KP. Keep in mind, for the last 29 games last year, 4 of our 5 starters were gone, and it suddenly was Luka and the reserves. That's what the team boiled down to. And Luka's minutes per game shot up into the 40s for the most part when we played him to account for that, just to give us a chance in some of those games. So give me Luka and KP, even if KP's on a little bit of a pitch count, so to speak, in terms of minutes, I think you're going to be in good sitting to get 10 games better. I expect you to be 10 games better. Your expectation is 38. Man, I feel like that's a low bar, but all right, go with your gut on that. Success is 41. Overachieving is 45 or more. Regardless of playoffs, I'd predict 41 though. See, I feel like that's setting the bar too low. Again, we won 33 playing nearly 30 games last year without 4 of the 5 starters. I think we are a much better 3-point shooting team than we were last year. I think Luka's development, KP's return, and looks like he's back to form. Everything we're hearing is that KP basically is back to form and he's stronger than he's been years past and all that. I feel like this team is going to be a lot better. Plus, you have the dissolution of the super teams. Now you have a bunch of tandems, and while it does in a sense make the West top to bottom tougher overall, you don't have those 3 or 4 teams at the top that kick the crap out of you every time you play them. And so I think that actually creates better parity, and I think that that'll make things. I know the logic almost sounds counter to what I'm saying. I think that this team, without a move now, is in that 9 range, which I would say, I wouldn't argue with you. 41, I would say, is a really low bar for what I expected. Again, I had 44, but I think with a trade, which I expect them to make, I would say if you make that trade and you're still 38 or 41, I would say that's a travesty, and that's something where you have to make substantial change going forward. But you got 9 guys under contract for at least the next 3 years. We have no dominant rebounder at all. No, we don't, and that's something they're going to have to address. That's why you're going to have to be a rebound by committee team. Trade for Robert Covington, says your mom's favorite. I guess that is your mom's favorite, is Robert Covington. Off question, any plan on breaking down the Triple J Ranch? Do you want me to go back and explore the Jason Kidd, Jamal Mashburn, Jackson situation? Jim Jackson, yeah. Do I have expectations on doing that? I hadn't pre-planned anything, but I'm certainly not against it. If there's people that want me to break down the famous beef regarding that, then yeah, I can do that. The 90s Mavericks, great team that we thought was going to take us to new heights and came nowhere near it, and then broke up supposedly because of a pop star singer and a love triangle. Sure. If that happened today and not in the 90s, if you had like Twitter and stuff, that would have blown up and been all over the news. But instead, it just kind of squandered away here. Prepared to witness Chris Paul stat pad a lot. Also, the Thunder are very underrated. I don't know if at this stage in his career, Chris Paul's doing a lot of stat padding. I mean, maybe you could argue in the case that he's trying to get traded, so trying to show teams that'll then be interested in trading for him again. I guess that would be your argument. The Thunder are still a good team, but I don't think that they're a great team. Before the season starts, we'll give like a firm thought on where we project top to bottom the Western Conference. And I had them as a bottom 4 in the West team. I had them around that 10-11 slot, kind of. But we'll see. Salute to our new subscriber, Lehman. Lehman Russ, father of... All right. Welcome. Oh, guys, in case you're wondering, if anyone hits the super chat or whatever, it'll read... if you have like a caption with it, like in that case, like your mom's favorite, Boban gets rebounds, would read that robotic voice, my off-screen producer, if you will read your comment on that. I don't care. Donate a penny for all I care. Just test it if you want to test it. I actually have not. I've tested that in the sense of getting the animation, but the person who tested it did not give a comment with it, and so nothing read, and it kind of half defeated the purpose. Chicha's 10. Go Mavs. Yes, sir. Ma'am. Sir. Ma'am. I don't know. Each starter will get 5+ rebounds, but we need someone that is willing to get hurt getting rebounds. Rebounds is going to be a huge thing for this team to solve, and if they can't rebound, if they're going to get beat on the board badly, consistently on a nightly basis, then that could swing the season in a lower projection than what I initially laid out, and that would be troubling for me. But I also think that that's then what the team would look at when it comes down to making a trade near the deadline. Not either an additional trade or changing the scope of specifically who they're looking at, and that would open it up. But I think it would be addressed in some form or another. You're cool, bro. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you. How do you know Kristaps is 100%? Ask Brennan. So he's been working out with the team in Miami. They have a team getaway thing where it's kind of a team building chemistry thing. There's no footage of it yet, but Dwight Powell has talked about it, and he's basically saying Kristaps is back to form, as tough to guard as ever, can shoot from anywhere effortlessly, and is stronger than he's been in the past. So all that tells me everything looks like he's back 100%. If we want to be subjective and say he's 97%, how do I know it's 100 versus 97? I don't, but not even Kristaps could give you that answer definitively. All we can say is that everything we know and everything we've been told suggests he's ready. He's ready. He's itching. He's been burning to get back on the court and get back into some of these games, and he's finally here. Man, comments flying in. What's up? What do you think is a fitting nickname for Luka? The Matador is not it. I agree the Matador is not it. From the moment Dallas drafted him, started pushing the moniker Luka Legend. Took his jersey number 77, flipped it for LL, Luka Legend. I actually even put together some merch for that at one point. We sold some shirts on that. I've worn them actually a few times. This is probably going to be off center, but let me see here. I'm curious if I even still have that image. I want to take 2 seconds to try and find that. No, doesn't look like I have that on hand. That's a bummer. But all the same, Luka Legend was the nickname I pushed. I like Luka Magic a lot too. But as far as Matador, nah, man, I've never liked Matador. The Matador defense is like, ole, you let your man go right by you. I'm like, you don't want that as your nickname. No one likes that nickname. And he's not a Spaniard. I know he speaks Spanish, but come on. I saw Reeves play every Summer League game. I see some people calling him our John Starks. I got high hopes for him, but I also know he was undrafted, so he's got a little ways to go. And I think it's going to take time to adapt to the pure pro NBA level as far as the nightly competition. It's different than Summer League. I love the fact that Mark Cuban has so much confidence in our Eastern European players. In 2 to 3 years, the Mavericks will lift the trophy. I like that. I like the optimism, Dude7TV1. I'm just going to call you Dude for short. I like the optimism a lot. Aside from a few games, Boban historically does not rebound well. I agree, and that's why I didn't mention Bobby as a rebounder. Plays like 10 minutes a game. Yes, he does. If we're getting 40-plus wins this year, no doubt I'm thinking 45, but we'll be close. I can feel it. Let me see what he did on the world team this summer. He might have improved. Check that out. Go ahead and check that out. Chris Tucker. Let's see. Do you think Porzingis could compete in the three-point contest on All-Star Weekend? Do I think he could? Sure. Dirk won it in the past. Porzingis shot, I think, 40% from three in the season he got hurt. He was lights out. That's a higher percentage than Dirk ever shot for the season from three. Oh, you don't know because Dirk was in the 50-40-90 club. So Dirk did have a season shooting at least 40%. But regardless, it's on a similar plateau with Dirk. So is he capable? Sure. Historically, you've actually seen some sharpshooters compete in the contest, and it kind of throws off their rhythm for a little bit afterwards because it's different. Instead of catch and shoot, you're like picking it off a rack, and it messes you up preparing for it and then actually participating in it, which is why you've seen some guys some good shooters have really bad three-point contests, and then some guys have the contest and then not look quite right for a little bit shooting the ball. I still think Danny Green or any other top shooter, I'm guessing, would bring this crew to a much higher level. They need to add that next season. Well, they tried to add Danny Green this season, and in the end, it made sense. He got the same money he would have gotten from Dallas, and he went to LA, a better destination place on the West Coast everyone loves. Players-wise, everybody loves. And he gets to go there and play with LeBron and Anthony Davis. It makes sense for him. Would I like to add a 3-and-D guy like that? Yeah, he's a little up there in age. I still was interested in adding him, but it is what it is. Once you have a year or more of Luka and KP playing together, they're going to draw people in. I'm still convinced of that. It didn't happen this year because we didn't get to see KP on the floor at all with Dallas after he came over. And I almost said Anthony Green. Danny Green even alluded to as much that was a difference maker for him, is while he was intrigued by the match, by the pairing, having not seen it, it was still an unknown. And he's like, well, I haven't seen LeBron and Anthony Davis either, but I know that they are 2 of the 10 best players in the league. I know what I have here, and I know I have instant championship contention right here Over here, this looks like it could be really good, but I don't even know how KP is, so potentially it wouldn't be spectacular, and this team otherwise looks kind of far away still, so it made sense, his decision. West is so stacked at this point, you basically have to win 50 games to get a playoff spot. It's happened before. I think it was the year the Mavericks lost in the first round to the Warriors. I think they were a 50-win Warriors team, or maybe that was a different year. But there's been years where the 8th seed was 50 wins. I think more often than not, it's usually about 46, 47 wins. Last year it was 48. It just depends. But if you're gonna set the mark at 48, last year's mark, that's got to be 15 games better just to get into the playoffs, and that is a high bar. But I still think that this team is capable of getting into the playoffs. Justin Jackson plays too soft. He's got room to grow. I mean, I'm telling you, look at his defensive points per possession numbers compared to Dodo. It's not really that much of a drop-off, and he adds a whole new scoring option that Dodo does not have. The one thing I give Dodo explicitly over him is rebounding, so that's something that the Mavericks coaches charge Justin Jackson with, on adding strength, putting on some muscle, and improving as a rebounder this summer. Let's see if this reads out.
Luca Magic donated $1. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. Kristaps Porzingis is healthy out here.
I like it. I like it a lot. That was pretty sweet. Appreciate the donation, sir, for testing that out. Sounds good. Let me know. You guys surely heard that, right? I had the volume up for the desktop audio, so you should have. But yes, if Justin Jackson has addressed that, then I think there's definitely a serious competition. And I've seen a groundswell. I wrote the article over a month ago. I've seen a groundswell in the last week or so getting behind him in the notion that he could and probably should be that 5th starter. And if you got that, first of all, if it happens, awesome. I called it ahead of time, and I don't know if I was the first, probably not, but I would be one of the first at that point. But that's one of those ones where I feel like I was on to something before a lot of people were. If it happens. If not, then I look like a jackass for talking about it even now. But hey, I do that regularly anyway on this channel. Thanks for the video of Jackson. Awesome. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm going to do more of those as well, featuring Seth Curry, spotlighting his year with the Mavericks previously, some Kristaps Porzingis, some DeLon Wright. I got all kinds of ideas for extra reaction stuff and analysis videos like the previous ones I rolled out. Yeah, we should definitely get over 40 wins. Dodo offensive rebounding is big, but Justin Jackson should be the starter small forward. That's my opinion. Going off his contract, we can pretty much tell he's not a starter, says Bob Dylan. Man, contract isn't everything. If we're talking about Justin Jackson, he's still on his rookie deal. Or if you're talking about Dodo, I guess that would make more sense because that's the only one who's gotten a second contract. Yeah, Dodo's contract's not big, but I mean, that doesn't mean much to me. You're going to start on a night-to-night basis. Basketball isn't like your set thing. Like, you don't have your set guys that go out there every single night. You'll probably employ something like 12 to 20 different starting lineups in some cases over the course of the season. I know it's like only 5 guys, but some teams just have crazy turnover. Regular teams, you'll probably still have at least 5 to 8 starting lineup combinations over the course of a season. It just depends. But, I mean, it stacks up pretty quick. It just depends on matchup. It depends on who's healthy, who's getting rest games. I think KP will be kept out of the second night of back-to-backs this year. That's just my gut feeling from them talking about a pitch count. That's the implication to me, but we'll see. Justin Jackson is inconsistent. Is the claim then that Dorian Finney-Smith and his 29% three-point percentage for his career is consistent? After 20 games this year, we won't be underrated no more. I like the call. Jalen Brunson and DeLon Wright. Well, DeLon Wright's going to be your starting point guard, but regarding Jalen Brunson, I haven't forgotten about Brunson at all. He's going to be off the bench for us this year. I think that's a role he can thrive in and be quite effective, but I don't foresee him being the starter for us. Your starting lineup, which the Mavericks have already said as much, is going to be DeLon Wright, Then you're going to have, I think Luka is going to be your shooting guard. Your 3 is either going to be Dorian Finney-Smith or Justin Jackson. I'm putting my hat in the ring for Justin Jackson. Not just because that. Then you'll have 55, 77, and 44 as your jersey numbers. I like the duplicate number brigade. And then you'll have Kristaps Porzingis and Dwight Powell is my guess. I don't think Maxey will be your starting 5, but I think that's what you're going to look at. Rick Carlisle likes a rim running center for his system. Dwight Powell is perfect for that, and KP plays better. Historically, he'll play some at center this year, but despite being 7'3", he is more comfortable and historically plays better as a power forward. So I think that's what you're going to be looking at in that regard for a starting lineup. Brunson will be coming off the bench as well with Seth Curry. I think that'll be your, so to speak, 1 and 2 off the bench. Let's see here. IDM for Christ. I say 45 wins, maybe even a 50-win season. 50 would be stellar. If we hit 50, I'm definitely doing a huge party event for the stream, for the live reaction, or just a live remote or something for that. If we get to that mark, we'll see. I mean, we got to see what point in the season they're able to pull the trigger on a trade. Who knows? Maybe they're able to do it earlier in the season, and that opens things up more than even I anticipated. But I think they're probably in that 44 to 46 range right now. Greg's Court, what's up? And all Doncic highlights at my YouTube channel. Don't forget, Dallas is going to start the season 14-6 or 15-5. I definitely like the projection. Yeah, if you guys want to check out his stuff, go for it. LM might agree with the 38 number, just needs a couple more pieces. We would have been 42 with Danny Green or that type of player. Again, if we're 38, I consider it a failure. If you're only 5 games better with year 2 Luka and 100% KP or even a 90% KP, that to me, that's a failure. Especially if you're then going to add a guy at some point in the season. But it is what it is. We'll see. The start is very important. We have started the past several years in huge holes that we've had to try and dig out of. I think it was 2-7 start last year. A couple years ago, we had something like a 4-17 start through 21 games, and that team actually rallied. That was before we got Dennis Smith Jr. That was the year before that. That was the Yogi Ferrell and Seth Curry. Those were like our highlight breakout guys of the year. But that team almost rallied for a playoff run. It just kind of fizzled out the final 3 weeks of the season. It finally had overcome everything to the extent it could and just ran out of gas. But we'll see. I do think that the schedule sets up for this team to start pretty strong this year, especially compared to those other years. How many games do you think KP will play? Also, the Spurs are much better now. The Lakers are back. The Pelicans are much better now. There's a lot of competition. That's the reason. How many games do I think KP plays? Well, I already said I think they'll keep him out the second night of back-to-backs. I think they're going to keep his minutes down around 27 to 30. Luka played about 30, 31 minutes a game last year, even with playing higher minutes the last 30 games. So I think that you can still, you hear that number and like people are like, only 30 minutes, but that's basically what you got from Luka last year. So you can still get a ton of impact out of that. So that's not a huge concern to me. Let's say games. I don't know off the top of my head his career high in games. I'd be willing to say 60 to 65, and that's a conservative number. I don't think he's playing like 70 or anything like that, but I'd be willing to guess that health permitting. That's always a deal in these things, especially when you're talking about a guy who's been hurt throughout his career. Only the one major injury though. That plus keeping him out second night of back-to-backs and stuff. Yeah, you might be looking at like 20 to 23 games or something that he sits out or something, whether it's rest, whether it's banged up, whatever. I think they'll protect him because, hey, he is their current biggest investment. As regarding the Spurs are better. Lakers are back, yes. Pelicans are an okay team. I mean, they're going to be one of those teams that we're fighting tooth and nail with for that bottom part of the West, but until I see Zion do it over the course of a full season, I'm not going to be in on the hype train for him. I think he's a extreme athletic freak and a talent in that regard, But you got to see how he's able to do it and how he's able to hold up, because I don't care if he's young and if he's got like a 46-inch vertical or whatever. He's 280 pounds and he's like 19 years old. Like the guy's body feels like it's built for like a blown out knee or something. And you saw that, even him exploding out of his shoe on a jump stop in college. So it's one of those things you just got to see. Some guys are not built in a way to be that explosive of a play style, and it eventually can catch up with you a little bit. Would you want Tim Hardaway Jr. back on a more team-friendly contract? Well, you got Tim Hardaway Jr. for 2 more years, so you don't have to worry about that. I think he can be productive for us off the bench, but he is a volume scorer. The best year of his career shooting the ball, it was shooting from 3 was about 35.5% in Atlanta. That's pretty removed at this point from where he is now. Last year with us, he only played about 14 games, and he averaged 15 points, which was great, but he did it on like 14 shots I saw. So I went back when I was writing my article about Justin Jackson. I even threw in the hypothetical of like, okay, well, what if they go with the smaller lineup, even though that's not what they told us they were going to do, and they put Tim Hardaway Jr. as their 2, Luka as the 3, KP as the 4, and so on. And yeah, he can score. He can get hot, and he can score for you, and I do think he can have an effective role on this team. But I have questions regarding his volume shooting and if it's efficient enough to really be what we need. Let's see here. Well, you still get that. You still got that Luka Wonder Boy drop. This one? Yes, I do. How did he do it? I need to get that drop. That's actually a good call out, Gleh. I need the how did he do it drop from Mark Followell on the Luka corner 3-pointer to beat the buzzer, 0.6 seconds in Portland to force overtime. What's up, Mav Zero? What do you think of DeLon Wright? I think DeLon Wright is an underrated addition for sure. I wasn't super high on the addition at first. I had seen his 2 triple-doubles against the Mavericks late in the season, but I wasn't super high on it. But it's a guy who hasn't had a lot of chance either. He's not a great 3-point shooter. I want to see that improve, but he's a versatile defender, long and rangy, good slasher, good passer, and can finish around the rim rather well. So all that fits very well. If you can develop that 3-point shot just a little bit better, then he'll be a perfect addition for us. And his value, in terms of his contract and his value, rates significantly better than like Patrick Beverley, who is the name that I was probably most beating the table for in terms of a not superstar addition, but a quality addition previously. The 2 guys I was highest on adding, full disclosure if you are new here, were Patrick Beverley and Danny Green. Didn't get either, but I think DeLon Wright's a fantastic addition. I can't think of his contract number off the top of my head, but it was something like 3 for 24. I mean, like crazy value. But he sat behind Kyle Lowry and Mike Conley in his career. He's never had a chance to start, and that's why he was drawn to Dallas for us to do the sign and trade. Because, hey, if we had put down an offer sheet on him immediately, we wouldn't have been able to get him because his contract would have been, one, it would have locked up our money from anything else we could have potentially done, although we didn't really get anything else done other than KP. Well, Seth Curry and Bobby. Like, we got some other stuff done, but we left a ton of potential money we could have spent on the table, about $14 million, which is crazy. But if we had put down an offer sheet, even though it's not the week-long drag that it used to be, like the DeAndre Jordan disaster of 2015, it would have been 3 days for the Grizzlies to think about it, and odds are what we would have offered him would have been either having a stupid overpay, or it would have been something where the Grizzlies were going to match it. Even with him, with Ja Morant, he wasn't going to be the starter, so it made sense for him to come to Dallas, and the Mavericks said, hey, when we traded down in the draft to get Isaiah Roby, we picked up 2 second-round picks. How about we throw you those? You like those? You like that? Yeah? Sweet. Now they got their guy. I think it's a quality addition and a very under the radar, point guard addition that I think will have a lot more value than people understand right now. I mean, sift through here a little bit, get caught back up. Bogdanovich is great. Otto Porter, he's an intriguing addition too. I don't know what his current situation is though with Washington. Or no, he got traded, right? I think he was traded last year. I just forget where he wound up, but I know he was on my radar at one point last year. Luka Mania sounds best. That's a thing as well, for sure. Let's see here. Warriors are touchable. It's been proven. Any team is touchable at this point. I mean, Warriors, yeah, you lose Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Boogie Cousins all in one offseason. Yeah, you're going to be touchable. Let's see. There's the clip from Rangers King. Salute. Trade for Sabonis and Warren ASAP. Fawn Sports. I said before, I saw Domantas Sabonis in Oklahoma City his rookie year, and I was most, even though I'm from Oklahoma City, so the Thunder are kind of a second team for me, but fear not, Mavericks are my, ride and die team. But the Thunder, I appreciate from afar a little bit. When the Thunder got Paul George, while I was thrilled to get Paul George for that team, I hated losing Sabonis because I knew he had quality. Very, very good six-man candidate for them off the bench. A stretch four. His father was a quality player in the NBA as well. I like a lot of what he can bring to the table. Very, very good. If you can get a Sabonis, woo-wee, that would be phenomenal. If you can add a Sabonis, it'll be... Let's get dangerous. Not the drop I thought it was, but apparently... I mean, this is feeling dangerous, but apparently it's Darkwing Duck is what it will be if we get Domantas Sabonis. KP will play most preseason games, though, right? I expect it to be a little limited in the preseason for him. Maybe enough just to kind of get him into basketball shape, like help him with that. But I think they're going to be very protective of him. Curry will start at point guard, I hope, says Danny Martinez. No, I don't think Dan... He's not a point guard like Steph. He was a shooting guard here for us before his best season. Plays best... I mean, he was a quality starter for us, but that was a really bad Mavericks team at the time. I think he's going to come off the bench for us as a shooting guard. Will you have some lineups where you could run him out that way? And will you see him at the end of a lot of halves and games? Oh, hell yeah. You're going to see a lot of Seth Curry, I think, this year. Because if healthy, that dude is straight buckets. Yeah, talking about three-point shooting. You still got, as well, the accountant out there for you. So, can't forget that. Go for broke. B-Rob, DDP. Who else can't wait for the season opener, says Lover Baseball. Well, your name threw me for a little bit. When I saw base, I thought it was going to be followed by Ketball. Not a bad movie. But, yeah, 100%. Adam Proctor, what's up? West Virginia watching you, DDP. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you, fam. Did you read Dennis Smith Jr. comments today? Said him and Luka have always been love, all love. Called Luka his dog for real. Yes, I did see that. That was from... who was that? C. Hendo, yeah. That's kind of been known a little bit. Like, that's cool that he said that and that it's back out there. But I feel like we heard that even earlier in the off season, and that Dennis and him stayed tight. Like, I'm pretty sure there was an interview or something prior. So it's good to get it back out there because clearly the narrative didn't stick despite the counter to it coming out. So it's good that it's back out there again, and obviously that's awesome for him to get those interviews. He got KD and I think Dennis Smith Jr. in quick succession. Like, that's legit. He's doing serious work. I think they signed Dylan Wright for that. What do you expect from Boban? Great locker room guy. You're going to have some lineups where you can throw him out there a little bit, and he's quite effective when he's on the court, but he can't move. He runs like molasses. Doesn't have much mobility, but his size and all that, he's just a force of nature. And I think you'll see him out there, and you'll see him do some ooh and ah moments, but you're not going to get a ton out of Bobby. He'll be efficient when he's on the court, but he's not gonna like blow you away and like, that is our starting five. How will they ever defend? it is what it is at this point in his career. He's a great guy to have. I like having him. He'll have no shortage of quotes and great moments with this team, but he's not a guy he's not like a missing piece to this team is what I'm saying. Am I the only one who worries we will underperform? We are relying on a second-year player and a star returning from injury. There's a lot in the West. A lot of West teams who have improved, so maybe we'll finish 38-44. I don't know, says Fred Wright. It's a second. Yeah. Could there be a sophomore slump? Conceivably, but the reason I think this is different is because Luka's been a professional since he was 13, 14. I mean, he's been playing in the pros, so I don't expect there to be a drop off with Luka in that regard. I think he's a unique in that regard. I almost said like a unicorn in his own right in that regard. So I don't anticipate a Luka drop off. And yeah, star returning from injury. If you're getting even 80% of what KP was a serious MVP candidate before his injury. So if you're getting him back anything like that, and him not having to be the focal point, but being able to be the second guy and to be set up picture perfect for wide open looks for three because Luka's vision is crazy. Dallas was like the third highest in the league last year in terms of creating wide open 3-point looks, while being bottom 4, I think, in terms of 3-point percentage as a team. They create the looks all day because of Luka. But you got to be able to knock it down. KP was shooting 40% from 3 before his injury. You got a career 44% 3-point shooter, 43% shooter, I think, and Seth Curry shot 45% last year. You got Justin Jackson shooting 37% last year, 36% during his time with the Sacramento Kings. I mean, you got a lot of good shooting out there for guys that are going to play big minutes for you. The only guy that you really need to see how he develops in that regard and see if he can add that aspect of his game a little better is a DeLon Wright. And I don't think you're going to see a ton of looks for DeLon Wright on that, but we'll see. He's certainly not a Rondo shooter. He's just not a great 3-point shooter. Patrick Robinson, what's up? Hardaway Jr. or Seth Curry, probably third option. Who do I think the third option is going to be? Hardaway will get the volume shots if he's in. If he gets the minutes, he'll take more shots, so that might help him. I think Seth Curry is going to be just a stone-cold assassin. His best year of his career was the one season he played with Dallas. Yes, he was here for 2 years, but he didn't play at all in his second year because of a stress reaction in his leg. But that first year he was with us, he averaged a career-high 12.4 points per game and started something like 40 games for us. Only place he ever was a consistent starter in his career. And he was phenomenal. I mean, not just 3-point lights-out shooting. He could create his own shot, and he was doing some stuff in the mid-range too. So Seth Curry became one of my favorite Mavericks in record time, and then I was crushed when they lost him. But if he gets the minutes, Hardaway Jr. probably gets it because he'll take every single shot. Ball touches his hand, it's a hot potato, but he ain't passing to a teammate, he's shooting the J. Shoot it! Cody Haven, what's up? Does Dirk hold any free throw records? I mean, in terms of Mavericks, most made for a career, surely, but I don't know. I mean, his career average isn't 90%. It's in the high 80s. So free throw records, I'm not an NBA standard, but I do know he had. I don't know if it's been surpassed in recent years, but Dirk had the NBA playoff record for a single game with 24 consecutive made free throws against the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals of 2011. So that one's probably still there. That was the game he dropped 48. Do we even have tradable pieces? Yes, we have tradable pieces. Do we have substantial tradable pieces? Not necessarily. I don't think you have anything where you're like, because Luka and KP are untouchable, obviously. I don't think you have anything where you're like, yeah, you like that? Yeah. I don't think you have that where teams around the league are like, yeah, let's make a trade. But I do think you have things where, because of the reasonable contract structure we have for a lot of the other guys around us, because of the expiring contracts are great, and we don't have a lot of those, so that might make it a little more difficult because, like I said, even Tim Hardaway Jr.'s got 2 years left. Courtney Lee's an expiring deal. That'll be a quality drop piece for the summer. Around the deadline, you'll see. But they just got to work some things out in that regard. But I think they have tradable assets for sure that they can pull off something. They've made it work before with less. Porter went to Chicago. What up? We got Annie and Duca in the house. What's up, co-host? Porter went to Chicago. That's right. How do you feel about the Thunder now? They're in complete rebuilding mode, and they have about $1 billion first-round draft picks. So I think they'll be good again in time, but they don't have a lot of high-end draft picks. It's not like when they got Durant, Westbrook, Harden, Ibaka, and like boom, 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 succession over the course of 4 years or 3 years, added all of them in and had 3 future MVPs on one team. Like they don't have that in terms of capital, draft capital, but they got a lot and they can make it work. So I think they'll get good again, but they're going to suck really hard for a year or two. Maybe not suck really hard. They still think they can be a playoff team now. I'm not convinced, but I think that they're going to be a good, not great team this year. By which I mean probably not a playoff team. Sometimes when I get to some of these comments or answers, the context of it doesn't fit within... I've moved on to such a different part of the conversation. I'm trying to like backtrack in my mind to where you were when you had a comment. And I'm like, I don't even know where to pick up, so I'm just going to pass over for now. Seth presents an issue defensively. He's a good team defender, but in terms of, one-man straight-up defense, he's not great. I looked into that as well. If he keeps his guy outside the three-point line, he's actually a good defender. Opponents shoot something like 9% worse than their season average against him outside the three-point line. But once you get in around the free throw line and in, that percentage skyrockets like 20 points higher than their season average. Who is more important player to the Mavericks, Luka or Porzingis? Luka. I mean, Porzingis is crucial as well, but Luka is the face that they are building around. Porzingis is like the Robin to his Batman. If that experiment doesn't work out, they're going to be in a tough spot. But at the same time, Luka is the everything. He is. They see Luka as like the Dirk in the sense that they want to build around him for the next 20 years. Regarding KP, they would like to do that, but I don't think it's as essential of that. If that experiment doesn't work out, they're not going to fight for it. Like they were never going to give up on Dirk, ever. Mark Cuban turned down the possibility of adding Shaq in 2004 because he refused to lose Dirk, and rightfully so. But that just goes to show, I think Luka would be a similar boat where you could be like, hey, do you want to add, I don't know, name some guy that's been around for a while and still has some left in the tank, but certainly is not a long-standing guy. Like LeBron. Would you add LeBron for Luka right now? I would say no. Right now, I would say no. That's going to have people who lose their mind and go crazy, but it is what it is. That's just where I stand on that position. I don't think that the Mavericks are in a situation where you would sacrifice this future that you've been building for a couple of years of LeBron before I think he goes away, because he keeps hinting like that's what he's planning to do. I don't think that's my plan. So I don't know. Porzingis for LeBron, they wouldn't probably. I don't know. I don't know what they would do. I'm off in the wilderness now. My point is, I think Luka is purely, completely untouchable, and I think KP is 98% untouchable. The Suns' losses were bad last year. Knicks, Hawks, Grizzlies. Those were horrendous losses. I also don't think those losses happen if you have KP. Jimmy Hester, love your show. Appreciate you, man. Tim Hardaway Jr. in the running for Sixth Man of the Year, says Andy and Duca. Well, it's not the first time my co-host has been wrong. I don't see him as Sixth Man of the Year candidate, but if he can be productive for us off the bench, I'm happy with that. Powell at center. Powell is too small. Boban is too big. What do you think the starting the paint, says Danny. It's going to be Powell. Powell played most of his minutes at that last year. He's a rim running center, which Carlisle's system really needs. Is he a little bit undersized in that regard? Sure, but he's, I think, 6'10". He's not, like, small. And so, yeah, I think that's what you're going to look at. You're going to have your 5 position be some combination of Dwight, Maxey, and you'll have moments, of course, where in certain lineups, KP is understandably there as well. Annie, do you want to get blocked from this chat? Let's see here. 27-year-old LeBron, maybe. But LeBron now, no chance. That's what I was trying to say, for sure. Let's see. Where do you think our bench will rank in the league? Again, before the Barea injury last year, we were a top 3 or 4 bench, for sure. So if they're healthy, I think the Mavericks can have a very, very good bench again. I don't know if it's in that top 3 range, kind of. It might be 5 or 6. I mean, yeah, you have Barea back, but he's 35 and coming off a torn Achilles. That felt more like a nostalgic signing than anything. Oh, Eastside Herald's got jokes. Houston all day. All right, well, it'll be interesting to see you take value of Russell Westbrook triple-doubles after undermining them the last 3 years or whatever. Just stat padding! As soon as he's doing it for your team, you're going to hold him up as, like, the next coming or something. Well, I'd love to put on the jersey, Annie, but this is the end of the show. I've already been going for an hour and 15 minutes, so this is the wrap-up, and the jersey's all the way over there. So this isn't one, I was going to say one pure Mavs fast break, but I did put that in the title, so whatever. The moment has passed. I'll have to wear it double somehow in the future and wear it on a non-Mavericks one or whatever. You see RJ Barrett saying he's going to dunk on the unicorn? Good luck. Yeah, I mean, again, he's the new Nick. He's the new Nick rookie that they're trying to hold up and be like, yay, see, it didn't all fall apart. We still have him, and he's good. He's a good prospect. Okay, good luck with that. Let me wet my whistle a little bit. Better. Be honest, how many of you just unsubscribed to me for making that noise into the microphone? Like this is an ASMR channel. But yeah, so I'm not surprised Barrett made the comment. Do I think it's going to happen? Not necessarily. KP averages 3 blocks a game. Do I think it could happen? Sure, but even if it does, KP's dropping 30 in the game, and it's not going to matter because the Mavericks are going to win. Rafa Sina, I can't see you. Where are you? Have you looked at any draft prospects, any centers? I have not done any draft analysis for next year's draft. That is way out there. Any, my co-host, who's in the chat above you with no channel icon, cool look, Any, is he's our usual draft prospect guy. As far as NBA draft is concerned, I handle the NFL draft, and he unsubscribed. That makes sense. Let's check the thing. You SOB, you actually did. But I handle NFL draft stuff, and Any is more so the NBA draft stuff regarding the channel. But, as I said moments ago, I'm going to have to wrap up this episode, guys. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. Let me give a quick shout-out for a note here as well, as we're talking about current events with the Mavericks. Jason Terry has, in a sense, returned to the team. He will be the assistant general manager for the Texas Legends, the Mavericks G League team. Welcome back to Jet. Great to have him in. This is him starting his front office career. I expect him to have eventually, whether it's a year, 2 years, whatever, I expect him to actually have a front office role with the Mavericks as a whole. But right now he's starting with the G League team, which I still like and appreciate. It's good having Jet back in. Jet is one of my 3 favorite Mavericks, I think, of all time. Jet is the reason I wore the number 31 in high school. So it is what it is. Let's see. Prove that you're the real Any and tell us about how you sleep on the grass. There you go. But that's going to do it for my time once more. And this time I actually am signing off. So until next time, guys, remember, every legend was once a prospect. Salute.
Yeah.
Yo, it's me, it's DDP.
I ain't tryna bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man, you can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't